Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I love hearing unique feedback from you because sometimes it's just things that I think, man, that's a really good point. This video is no different. You see, over the years, Kabam has made almost everything from 4-hour crystals to daily crystals, from daily crystals to, of course, I guess you could call them crystal shard crystals. Not 5-star and 6-star crystals, but you know what I'm talking about. Cavalier crystals, Grandmaster crystals, and then, of course, featured Cavalier crystals. These crystals, right here. They've made them all progression-based. Now, there is one pretty big exception, and that is, unfortunately, the Grandmaster Daily Special, where we have everybody, essentially level 5 to Thronebreaker, have a chance to access it. This is an incredible opportunity for people who are, well, level 5. Because for $5, the worst you can do in this is a 3-star, which a 3-star is pretty terrible for most progressing players, but for new players, it feels like a 6-star because you're dealing with mostly 1 and 2-star champions. And then, of course, you get things like half a tier 4 basic, 5-star shards, tier 2 alpha catalyst fragments, which mean nothing to you now, but will certainly, I can't imagine having enough tier 2 alpha catalysts to where you immediately can take your best first 5-star, especially if they don't need to be awakened, like, say, Warlock, to rank 4 on a new account. That's incredible. It also kind of encourages players to spend in the Marvel Casino of Champions, which is what they're hoping to do to normalize spending behavior to stay with the game for both the good and the bad times, of which we've seen many of both in 2021. But now that we have the updated rules regarding the gifting event, it is a suggestion by a few summoners, all of whom I don't think know each other, but messaged me in the same time period for something that they're surprised Kabam didn't make as part of these new rules. I have heard from several of you how shocked you are by both, well, two things. The level 40 and above or Conqueror requirement. So again, holiday gifting event. If you missed the other messages and you missed this message, your in-game inbox. December 20th to January 3rd, for those who are level 40 plus, have become a Conqueror and have created their accounts. Really, it's 3 requirements. Level 40 plus, completed Act 4, so almost uncollected essentially, and have created their accounts prior to November 20th, which was a pretty big deal because this message came out on November 29th. So there was this fear from Kabam that if they revealed the details too early, people would rush to make their alts to X amount of level that they needed in order to gift. And so by ensuring that the account had to be made and the rules had to be followed at least 9 days before this came out, the ensuring was maintained. Now, some of you have told me, screw it. If these are the new sandbox rules, we'll play them, but we're going to go hard on the gifting in 2022. You just wait. And I thought, okay, that makes sense. Your gifting alt grinding starts right now. But there's also something that's kind of confusing, and this is the only major event that Kabam, when it comes to greater gifting crystals, has not made progression based. And now that they essentially, for the first time, have a rule in place for those who get to do the holiday gifting event to be Conquerors and above, why not give those who aren't Conqueror and above a chance to actually gift a lesser important crystal? And you might think to yourself, oh, that's not that big of a deal. Well, there's a lot of players out there. I always kind of underestimate the casual players in this conversation because I hear from them. And they are level 30 or level 25 or maybe level 35. And for people who play this game seriously, you think, I just don't understand how somebody after a year of playing could be at that level. But these people play the game as casually as it gets. They may not be in an alliance. They may not have downloaded the Line app. They may only play it a couple times a week because, honestly, it's a true small hobby for them. But it's still important to them. And if you had a greater gifting crystal, maybe you just called it the gifting crystal and saved the greater word for those Conqueror and above, where instead of 6-star shards and 5-star shards, maybe it was 5-star shards and 4-star shards, but maybe instead of 300 units, it's 200 units. You could still give these players a chance to get excited, and most importantly, and this is the point that was made from some of you who reached out to me in the past 24 hours, you're giving those players motivation to not only participate, but also to progress in the game. They don't want to stay at that point. They want to evolve their account. And so that's kind of the point of progressions in the first place, to inspire and motivate players to want to push to a difficult content, maybe have to burn some units to take down the collector, for example. But that progression is going to be well worth it. I still don't understand. I really don't have an explanation for why there hasn't been progression-based crystals on this. It's always been to the benefit of those at the bottom, because even if you're Conqueror now and you're level 40, you're going to be getting stuff from these greater gifting crystals you couldn't get for, good grief, years, depending on your progression level. Like, let's say it took you 2 years to become Conqueror. You're not going to get a bunch of 6-star shards and tier 5 basic catalysts and tier 2 alpha from the content that you're clearing. You're probably having like maybe rank 5 4-stars, maybe rank 3 5-stars, maybe 1 rank 4 5-star. Well, suddenly you can get way better rewards for just gifting units than you could for clearing content with your current roster. That's kind of astounding. And even though as a level 60 Thronebreaker player, I tend to look at it from the perspective of where I'm at, when I put myself in the shoes of those summoners, especially before these rules, and anybody could get those items, especially last year with the buffs to them, it was just crazy. It was crazy how much you could progress your account with 5-star and 6-star champions and rank up resources, even signature stones and awakening gems, because we've seen the 5-star awakening gem crystal in those for a while. Be there. Now, there's one thing that I wanted to end this video on, because it's a question that 2 summoners had for me. One in my live stream last night and the other just online. Prof, do you think this is the year where 6-star awakening gems, and by awakening gems we mean awakening gem crystals, find their way into this? And maybe it's a 0.01% chance. Maybe it's the same drop rates for getting one of those as a 6-star Thanos. Maybe it's even rarer than that. But technically, do you think they're going to put them in? I still think the majority of the community would vote no, but obviously from a wish list perspective, they would want to vote yes. I think one of the biggest no-brainers to this buffed edition, and we'll have a whole preview of Hope on this in a couple weeks, but we love Cavalier Nexus crystals, and they're now giving us 2 featured Cavalier Nexus crystals every Wednesday for $5. So they value them on certain days, like the What's Next and What If Nexus crystals, for $2.50 a piece. And 300 units for a greater gifting crystal is $10 worth of units. So that's the same price, unit-wise, as 4 featured Cavs. So you're thinking, if that's the case, they should at least put a Cavalier Nexus crystal as a decent drop rate option for those. The issue is Cavalier Nexus crystals are typically reserved for Cavalier and Thronebreaker players, and the new rule gives both Uncollected and Conqueror players a chance for them. But my counter to that is, well, great, you're giving them a preview of what they can obtain if they progress. It's another motivation for those players to actually push those accounts. So those were a lot of thoughts on this. I promised a few of you behind the scenes that I would cover this, and I've tried to do that in this video. I'm sure there's always points that I've missed, but then again, it's what the comment section is for, and also what keeping this video under 10 minutes is for, to avoid those pesky triple ads. Have a great rest of your evening, morning, night, afternoon, whatever time you chose to click on this video. I appreciate that you did.